Did you know the world's greatest library was not destroyed in just one moment? Many people think a single fire erased all knowledge. But that is not true. Who really destroyed the Library of Alexandria? And why is a richer, more complex story? Today, we'll explore the real and authentic history of who really destroyed the Library of Alexandria? And why in easy English. This is a history story designed to help English learners read and listen in simple English so you can learn English through stories while discovering a real historical tale. Around 300 BC, in the city of Alexandria, Egypt, one of the ancient world's most important learning centers was born. Alexandria was a cultural hub of the Mediterranean. Greek rulers called the Ptolemies wanted to build a library that held all known knowledge. Scholars came from many places. The library grew rich with scrolls on science, law, math, medicine, astronomy, and poetry. The library was part of a larger research center called the Mausoleum, a place where scholars lived, worked, and shared ideas. What made this library special was not just the quantity of material, but the way it brought knowledge from many cultures into one place. But by 145 BC, things began to change. A powerful ruler named Ptolemy VIII drove foreign scholars out of Alexandria during a fight for power. Without these scholars, the library struggled. Many valuable works were taken elsewhere, and the library slowly lost its support and prestige. The greatest damage to the library was not a single fire, but gradual neglect, a slow loss of money, support. People often ask, who burned the library down in one night? But modern historians, real experts who study ancient evidence, tell us that the idea of a single sudden destruction is probably wrong. Alexandria faced political change, economic decline, and shifting priorities long before dramatic moments happened. The library simply weakened over time. This part of the story helps us understand the core question: who really destroyed the Library of Alexandria? And why? Was it a series of events, not one villain or moment? By the end of the 2nd century BC, Alexandria was still important, but the library's power had faded. The building was not maintained. New centers of learning in Rome and other cities attracted scholars who once would have come to Alexandria. The wheel of time was turning. If you're enjoying this history story in simple English, and are an English learner wanting to learn English through stories, subscribe now. There's more exciting history ahead. Many people think Julius Caesar burned the whole Library of Alexandria in one dramatic war moment. But the truth is surprising and complex. So let's answer who really destroyed the Library of Alexandria? And why with real historical evidence. In 48 BC, Rome's great general, Julius Caesar, came to Alexandria. Egypt was in a civil war. Caesar supported Cleopatra against her brother. To stop enemy ships, Caesar ordered fires at the docks. These fires spread into parts of the city. Historians today say that the library itself may not have been completely destroyed by Caesar's fire. The fire likely affected warehouses near the docks that stored scrolls, not the heart of the library. The Roman writer Cassius Dio reported later that the main library buildings were not fully burned. And another ancient traveler, Strabo, visited Alexandria decades later and wrote about libraries still in use. That means the library still existed after Caesar's war. After this moment, Alexandria's importance as an intellectual center began to fade. Rome ruled Egypt, and leaders cared more about politics than scholarship. The library and its scholars were no longer priorities. Many scrolls were moved, sold, or lost. But that was not the end. Another surprise fact. The library may have continued in part for centuries, even after Caesar, because scholars still worked in Alexandria. The Serapeum, a large temple in Alexandria, is believed to have housed part of the remaining book collections connected to the earlier Library of Alexandria. In AD 391, the temple was destroyed during religious conflict. This was a real historical turning point, not a dramatic blaze in a moment, but religious and political conflict that ended the last stronghold of Alexandria's greatest collections. So, when we ask who really destroyed the Library of Alexandria? And why, part of the answer is this. It was a series of destructive events and long decline, not one person. Cities change. What people value changes. That is a key lesson from history. One of the biggest myths in history is that Arab conquerors burned the Library of Alexandria in a single moment. But centuries of research show this is not supported by reliable evidence. So let's explore who really destroyed the Library of Alexandria? And why with real facts. Today's history story in simple English is not just about ancient destruction, it shows how knowledge can survive or disappear, and why English learners and history lovers should know the real story. In 642 CE, the Arab general Amr ibn Ali with Makron conquered Alexandria. Much later, around the 12th century, some writers falsely claimed that Muslim leaders burned the remaining library scrolls. Historians today say this story was likely made up hundreds of years later. There is no reliable evidence that Arab conquerors intentionally destroyed classical knowledge in Alexandria. Many scholars even point out that Islamic civilizations preserved and translated Greek texts into Arabic, helping knowledge survive. By the time Arabs ruled Egypt, the original library, and its smaller collections, were probably already gone. Decay, neglect, politics, and earlier wars had already erased the institution that once stood. The disappearance of the library was mostly gradual decay, not one dramatic event. This fact challenges the dramatic myths many people believe. For English learners, history like this is more than dates. It's a real human story that helps you understand how past events shape our world and language. When you learn real history in simple English, your mind grows in two ways: language and judgment. Real history is often less dramatic but richer in meaning than myths. And knowing the difference between fact and fiction is one of the greatest skills you can have as a learner. If you enjoyed this history story in easy English, and want more Learn English Through Stories episodes, subscribe now and click the bell icon. Let's explore the real past together, one story at a time.